I'm here to be an all-time great.
You're now rocking with the best.
Purple yellow, purple yellow, purple yellow, purple yellow.
The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles.
Welcome to the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast.
Oh, he's smoking hot.
The latest Laker news.
Another great Showtime feed.
The greatest Lakers show.
This is going to be legendary for a long time.
This is the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast.
Lakers all day.
Go Lakers!
Everybody, it's your boy Big Baby here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications for each and every podcast. And speaking of podcasts, I got the queen herself, Jeanie Bus. Jeanie Bus, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I'm honored to have you on. I've been working at this for a long time. Thank you for coming on today.
Well, I'm really impressed with the intro. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, most definitely. So tell us, where were you at when your dad first acquired the Lakers?
I was a senior in high school, and it was something that he had talked about pursuing for a long time. His dream, was, he came from very modest means, and his dream was to have enough money to afford season tickets to go to the Lakers and to the Dodgers, his two favorite teams. So the idea that he was in a position to actually buy the team really, was such a thrill for him. And he saw what not a lot of people saw, what the potential was for the NBA and the growth that was on the horizon.
Yeah, most definitely. Your dad's a winner. He knew what it took to win. He did everything in his power to get the Lakers going. And just talk about, when did you first know that the Lakers were going to be special growing up?
We were so spoiled that first year because, one of the very first acts of his ownership was to draft a player by the name of Magic Johnson. And, there was a lot of debate internally amongst the Lakers front office about who would be the right player. And back then, to take a player who at that time had to declare hardship was what it was called, because you usually couldn't be drafted until you had completed your college eligibility. So that meant you were going to be 22 years old. Instead, Magic Johnson had applied for hardship and came into the NBA as a 19-year-old. And that was really, really uncommon. And so there was a lot of pushback against my dad to draft Magic Johnson. But my dad watched the NCAA finals between Michigan and Indiana, which featured Larry Bird and Magic Johnson in their very first big rivalry matchup. And he loved the way that Magic played. He drew inspiration for what he wanted the Lakers to be by, the joy that Magic played with, but yet with the killer instinct to win. And it was, it captivated my dad. And, he went against some advice and drafted Magic Johnson. And in that first year, the idea that, at that time, the Lakers were averaging maybe 7,000 or 8,000 people in attendance. We had a big star in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but the Lakers just hadn't really, kind of established themselves as a true powerhouse in the NBA. And, that was, one of my dad's goals was to make the Lakers the best team in the NBA. And in order to do that, you had to, match the success of the Boston Celtics. And, so bringing in Magic Johnson and the idea that as a rookie, he could lead the NBA to a title over the Philadelphia 76ers in the 1980 finals was just, you couldn't predict Hollywood couldn't write a script like that. It was so, way beyond anybody's wildest dreams. And I'll never forget, because Kareem got hurt in what was game 5 in Los Angeles. Then the team had to fly back for game 6 in Philadelphia, knowing that we would have a game 7. And that, even if we lost in game 6. So they made the decision to leave Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back in Los Angeles so he could rehab the ankle and keep it from swelling by flying across country. So at that point, it was kind of like, well, who's going to play center if we don't have Kareem? And Magic said, I can play center.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm like, what are you, crazy? And, he was just that kind of player that, he believed in himself so much, you couldn't help but believe that he knew what he was doing. And, as a rookie, led the team. And, we won the championship in 6 games while Kareem was at home watching it on TV. So, we were spoiled from that day forward. And, and that's what really started to establish the Lakers as a team that would, compete at the top of the NBA standards and would capture the hearts and minds of our fans in Los Angeles.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm not surprised Magic Johnson playing center. He's arguably one of the greatest point guards of all time. I knew he was going to take over in that game in the NBA Finals. And that's what the Lakers are all about, winning rings and stuff. So I'm not surprised by Magic Johnson doing it. So Jeanie Buss, next couple of questions. How does it feel to be the first female owner to win an NBA championship? Tell us about the 2020 championship moment. What was that process like?
2020 was such a year of ups and downs, and certainly starting off in January with the loss of our beloved Kobe and Gianna Bryant. You couldn't imagine anything worse. And then the thing that helped us heal our hearts was getting back to NBA basketball. But then in March of 2020, the world basically shut down because of the COVID virus. And, all basketball activities were put on hold. And we were all, forced to stay at home and be disconnected from our community, our friends. And we didn't know if we were ever going to play basketball again. And so I give so much credit to Adam Silver and the brain trust at the NBA that they saw a vision for what could be possible by bringing the teams to one place, Orlando, Florida, and keeping them sequestered so that there was no interaction with the outside world, and that you could create virtually a virus-free zone that you could possibly finish the NBA season. So that, became a rallying point for our team. And I admire all the players that made the commitment to go to what we called the bubble, because they had to leave behind their families and friends and their pets and their homes and their beds and everything. And, basically be, in this one spot for 3 months, and watching what was going on in the world while we were, while they were in a bubble. Was hoping for the best, but, really didn't anticipate a championship run for the Lakers. And I joined the team there in Orlando for the championships. And I couldn't have been more proud, because that kind of pressure of being away from everything that's familiar and everything that gives you comfort really made that championship something special. And we'll never forget Anthony Davis when he hit that game-winning shot, and the first thing he thought of was screaming Kobe's name. Like, Kobe, we'd seen Kobe done so many times, and it felt right. And like I said, I couldn't have been more proud of a team and for what they accomplished under unimaginable circumstances.
Yeah, most definitely. That year in 2020, crazy with, like you said, Kobe passing away, Gianna, and just when everything shut down, I took it upon myself to podcast more, keep pushing, keep grinding, and I actually have a Kobe story. He actually followed me on Twitter, and we had a conversation, and I look at it every day. He said, keep doing greatness, keep pushing forward, and you'll get to where you want to get to on your podcast. I look at it every day, and that keeps me going.
Did you take a screenshot of it?
Yes.
Yeah, you always keep that, because that is very special. Mm-hmm. And I'm not surprised that he would have encouraged you to continue to work hard, especially at something that you're so passionate about. And I've watched you really, come into your own as you started in this business, and you had a vision for what you wanted to accomplish, and here you are. So I agree with Kobe. Just keep
most
pushing.
Definitely. And also shout out to Dwight Howard for the inspiration as well. We got rapid fire questions. Jeanie Bus, give me your top Mount Rushmore Lakers of all time.
Yeah, I fell into this trap once before. I'm not going to fall into it again.
That's okay. You can keep it real on Big Baby Sports. That's what we do here, is keep it real. So
no. I'm going to borrow an answer from Dr. Bus, because he was asked this question a few times in his career, and so his answer was his favorite point guard of all time, Laker point guard, Magic Johnson. His favorite shooting guard of all time, Magic Johnson. His favorite small forward of all time, Magic Johnson. His favorite power forward of all time, Magic Johnson. And his favorite center of all time, Magic Johnson.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Give me your Mount Rushmore of NBA teams or Laker teams of all time.
Oh, that's like asking a mom to name her favorite children. I really learned from Phil Jackson that every championship has its own story. Every journey takes its different twists and turns, and so you can't really appreciate any one more than another, because sometimes they're more linear and more direct, and you basically sweep through the finals like we've seen a couple Laker teams do. But sometimes it's climbing what seems like insurmountable odds. And I look at maybe the 2010 championship against the Boston Celtics, and going into a game 7, being down at halftime and thinking, did we come all this way just to lose to the Celtics again? And when you have a Kobe Bryant on your team, you're never out of it. And who can forget when he made that pass to Ron Artest? I mean, Meta World Peace, and and the joy of Meta making that shot and realizing that Kobe had the faith in him to make that shot. I think was a memory that all Laker fans cherish.
Yeah, most definitely. That 2010 championship run I loved it. You got Laker team battle, Game 7, arguably the best finals, in my opinion, that I've experienced. I know you got 2020, but right there, beating the Celtics, we lost them in 2008. I'm still bitter from it till this day. I wish we would have won 2008, but we got revenge in 2010.
Yeah.
So what is your Mount Rushmore of all-time Kobe moments?
Ooh. Wow. That's that's even harder. I think there are so many great memories. I guess I would, think to the 81 point game. And I've had to explain many times to people that it wasn't Kobe just playing in garbage time and like just, taking advantage of a team that was undermanned, that we were behind at halftime. And Kobe did what Kobe had to do to make sure that we won that game. And so he scored 81 points to make sure that the Lakers would walk away with that victory. And a few weeks before that, he had gone for 60 or 61 points against the Dallas Mavericks. And that was by just the third quarter. And Phil took him out in the fourth quarter. And I'll never forget our drive home. I got in an argument with Phil and I said, why didn't you just leave Kobe in? He was, he was scoring at will. He said, Jeanie, we were going to win the game. Like, what was the point? Like you don't do that. That's not what you do. And, and Kobe understood it. I was the one who didn't understand why he had to come out of the game. But then, for him to, a few weeks later, score 81 points because that's what he had to do. That the willpower of Kobe was so strong and could never be underestimated.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I remember the 81 point game. He did everything he could, scoring at will. And also, too, Kobe, I remember there was a game against San Antonio where Gary Vitti popped his finger back in his place to go back out there, because I remember the ball hit his hand, popped it back in and played through it. You don't see a lot of guys in today's NBA play like that. So it's like, I love to see I like when I saw Kobe. He was like, come on, Kobe, you got this.
Yeah, like Phil used to say he'd never seen a player with as high pain threshold as Kobe, that he could do something like that and just move on right to the next thing. He never lingered in the agony. He always kept moving forward. What a great lesson for all of us.
Yeah. What is your Mount Rushmore of all-time NBA owners?
There's been some really, really good ones and some really not so good ones. I guess I would say, I have, when I came into the league in the late 90s as an alternate governor, most of the governors in the room were much older than me. And, I couldn't really relate to them. And I thought to myself, this is going to be a really difficult position for me to be in, because I'm not really, how am I going to have, conversations? How am I going to garner their respect? And then I realized that any new owner that came in after me would be somebody that I could, put my hand out to and, kind of give, my support and whatever help they needed in adjusting to this league that they are now a part of. And so in the year 2000, Mark Cuban came into the league, and, he and I are about the same age. And, this was somebody that, thought a little bit differently than the established guard, and, didn't look at me as somebody that, should be, delivering the coffee as opposed to somebody that deserved a seat at the table. He was of a different generation. And, I, have a very deep respect for Mark Cuban for that reason. And, I was happy for him when he won a championship. I want, if the Lakers couldn't win, then it doesn't really matter to me who wins. But, congratulations to him. And he's always run an excellent organization and always been competitive. And that's a hard thing to do after, 25 years in this league.
Yeah, most definitely. Mark Cuban, keep up the great work. Now we're going to go to describe in one word. Describe the Lakers organization in one word.
Winning.
Describe your time with the Lakers in one word.
Glorious.
Describe Kobe Bryant's career in one word.
Spectacular.
Describe Kobe Bryant's mentality in one word.
Determined.
Describe Kobe Bryant and Shaq's relationship in one word.
Complicated.
Describe the NBA championship, bubble championship in one word.
Unusual.
Describe last season in one word.
Optimistic.
Describe Andrew Bynum's career with the Lakers.
Too short.
Describe Lamar Odom's career with the Lakers in one word.
Emotional.
Describe LeBron James' career with the Lakers in one word.
Ongoing.
Describe Anthony Davis's career with the Lakers in one word.
Just, sky's the limit. I don't know how to put that into one word.
Yeah, no worries. Describe Westbrook's career with the Lakers in one word.
It wasn't the way we wanted it to be. I wish I could think of the right word to describe that feeling, but I really love the kid.
Yeah, he's a very good competitor, and it was just unfortunate. Just tell us about the Lakers season, first year with Darvin Ham. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you feel like he did with this Laker team this season?
Solid. When I think of Darvin, I just think of him as he's just grounded, strong, somebody that you can lean on, consistent. You know what you're going to get during the season. He never got too high. He never got too low. He just always kept it real. And that allows everybody to kind of find their right place because he builds a solid foundation.
Yeah, Darvin Ham kept it real, facts over feelings. I like what you guys did with him bringing him in here. He preaches toughness, grit, and grind. The season started out 2-12. You guys went from 2-12, making the moves at the deadline, get to the Western Conference Finals. How did you feel about getting to the Western Conference Finals, and how do you feel like getting swept can motivate you guys to get better for next year?
It was, the beginning of the season to start off that way. It was really, really difficult because I knew it was going to be a challenge for a new coach coming into a situation, and the expectations on this franchise. It's not fair to not, have the ability for a coach to just have, that time to establish what he's trying to do. Training camp is too short. There's so many distractions that are going on because of league requirements and media. And, a coach doesn't really get the time that they need to put in the offense, the defense, the sets, just the communication that he wants with the team. And so now to start off the season and be burdened with a poor record and wondering, when are you going to, win that first game? When are you going to win 2 games in a row? And the weight just, it just adds to all the other difficult challenges that face an organization in this league. Everything comes at you fast. Phil used to tell me that, when you have a team, you want to get to 20 wins before you get to 10 losses. So by the time it's Christmas, you know what kind of team you're going to be and where you're going to kind of fit into the standings. And so, we had that heartbreaking loss in Boston in early December on, what would be, some would describe as a questionable call. And, it just felt like we're not going to have a break. It's not going to, things are going to get worse before they get easier. And the one bright spot was being able to focus on the idea that LeBron was going to break the all-time scoring record. And I, for me, the fact that he was wearing a Lakers uniform means a lot. But as I was asked about that record, I emphasized that this was LeBron's record. It wasn't a Laker record. LeBron and the work he's put in, not only for the Lakers, but for the Cleveland, for the fans in Miami, this was a celebration of LeBron's career. And so we got to participate in that, and the atmosphere for those games leading up to him breaking the record felt like playoff games and were very exciting. And, so that gave us some joy in what seemed like a very disappointing season. But, in the first move that Rob Pelinka made, was the trade of Kendrick Nunn for Rui Hachimura. And that all of a sudden was kind of like a spark that, wow, this is very exciting to see this kid come in. And I remember when he was drafted and, he kind of was a big story because him being from Japan and coming to the NBA was a very big story. And certainly, I remember meeting him, and for whatever reason, and I wouldn't normally do this, but when I met him, the first question that came out of my mouth was, you decided what number you're going to wear. And he said, I'm wearing 28 because number 8 for Kobe and number 2 for Gianna. And it just struck my heart. And I went, this kid's going to be okay. This kid's he really understands us here. And that he draws inspiration from the story of Kobe and Gianna. So, he couldn't have captured our hearts more and had a great playoff run. And then certainly the trades that were made at the trade deadline, really even surpassed my expectation of what was possible.
Yeah, most definitely. The season 2-12, Darvin Ham did his thing, brought the defense, and just in general, like the season got turned around, like you said, with those trades and all that. And you guys got to the playoffs. The first matchup was against Memphis. What did you think about Memphis, that series going into the first round versus Memphis, and certain players talking to get under LeBron's skin? How did you feel about that? The idea that we made it through the play-in and we're going to be matched up against the number 2 seed, it was kind of like, okay, well, this is going to be difficult to get through. And,
that's when you have a veteran leader like LeBron who can not only, turn off the distractions, but actually use them as energy to help propel you into what your goals are. It was so surprising that we were able to beat Miami, and kind of, Miami definitely had their challenges through their season, and we're dealing with some things. But hey, in the NBA, any opportunity that you can leverage to your advantage, you take. And certainly that's what the Laker team did. And who can forget Austin Reeves kind of, declaring himself, I'm him.
I'm him. Yep.
I can do this. I know I'm here. I can, put me in this position and I'll deliver. And he sure did. And I was very proud and excited to be a Laker fan at that time.
Yeah, most definitely. Me too. I like what Austin Reeves did in that playoff run, along with Rui Hachimura, D'Lo, just the team chemistry from the start at the deadline too. The deadline trades got chemistry, and beat Memphis, beat the Golden State Warriors, and just fell short versus Denver Nuggets. And how did you feel about Mike Malone talking about Lakers daddy? How did you feel about that?
I heard his comments, and I know exactly what he was feeling in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You are on the top of the world and you feel invincible. Mm-hmm. And you have thoughts of, nothing's going to knock me off this post. I've declared myself at the top and nobody is going to take me down. And I think that, he was caught up in the moment, and that's happened many times in Laker history where
Mm-hmm.
we've been involved in situations just like that. And we all remember Pat Riley when he declared the Lakers were going to win back-to-back championships.
Yeah, I remember that.
During the parade.
Yeah.
The players were like, are you kidding me? You can't do that to us. So I know how coaches think. He's going to motivate his team. He wants to stay on top. And certainly, if I know our players well enough, they'll use that as their motivation going forward.
Almost definitely. I already took it as motivation for upcoming season. And he was talking, I'm going to take that, implement it for next season. But it's part of the game. They're their first time in NBA history they win a championship. So I understand it. Top of the mountain. Just congrats to the Denver Nuggets. But we'll see you in the playoffs next year. It's all good. It's all love. But gotta ask this question: when can we expect the Kobe Bryant statue?
I can assure all Laker fans that there is when the time is right, they will know, and that's how I will leave it.
Most definitely, I will be tending that game, outside or inside. That's gonna be a special day.
Yes, I agree with you.
Most definitely. So Jeanie Buss, this has been an honor. I just want to say thanks again. It's an honor. I've been working at this since 2016. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on Big Baby Sports today. And this video will be dropping on Friday.
Oh, fantastic. Great. And thank you for having me. And, let's make this an annual event.
All right, most definitely. Thank you.